What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Connor. Today we're going to be talking about what to do with your first AR-15. Before we get into that though, go ahead and scroll down, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. When this channel hits 10,000 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway that will be over on Instagram. So make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. You don't want to miss that. And with all that out of the way, let's get into this. So to explain a little bit about the purpose behind this video, when I was purchasing my first AR-15, I had no idea what all the options were to do with it, the price ranges, all the things I could do, whether it was hunting or flat range shooting. I really didn't know because there's so much out there, and I wanted to make this as simple as possible of what to do with your rifle. What can you do with your rifle? We've got 3 options of how to build out your rifle that we're going to discuss here today, and I really hope it helps you out. So before we go any further, if you are new to AR-15s, there's no shame in that at all, but go ahead and scroll down, give us a comment, let us know what would you like to know more about when it comes to AR-15s. Or if you already own 30 ARs and 50 other guns, give some advice to the new folks down below. What would you have wished you had known before you purchased your first AR-15? So for this hypothetical scenario of purchasing my first AR-15, I've chosen the Radical Firearms AR. I want to highlight it a little bit before we talk about what all we can do with it. So this is a sub $500 AR-15, which is a great entry-level price point. It's not going to break the bank. But one of my favorite features about this Radical is that it comes with B5 furniture. So you get a nice stock. It's upgraded from that sort of standard M4 stock that comes on a lot of entry-level ARs. You also get a nicer grip. Moving forward from there though, we do have a 16-inch barrel, so no funny business with tax stamps and the government. 16-inch barrel, good to go. A free-floating handguard. We do have Picatinny all across the top and a M-LOK handguard, so plenty of options there. Now, let's talk about some different ways we can load this thing out. The first one is a long-range shooting setup. So this is a Triton Hyperion 3-18 first focal plane scope. This is a long-range scope. It is geared towards long-range shooting. This isn't really for running drills. You could do that, but this is really more for those longer 100, 200, 300, even 500 yard shots. You would want to use a long-range scope like this where it's got a 3-18 magnification range. Additionally, this is a first focal plane optic, so your holdovers will be accurate at every level of magnification. Up top, it has windage and elevation adjustment turrets. I really like those because they actually pop up to make an adjustment and then push back down to lock that adjustment in. So you sort of get the best of both worlds between having caps on them and also being able to quickly make an adjustment. Once you push that turret down, your adjustment is locked in. Moving off to the side of the scope, you do have an option to illuminate your reticle, which is really nice if maybe you're deer hunting in sort of a low light, dusky condition before the sun has set. You can flip over and use that illuminated reticle, or even when you're taking a long range shot, maybe you want something more than that sort of traditional gray looking reticle. You can light it up with 6 different illumination brightness settings. The other adjustment ring on that side of the optic is the parallax adjustment. So again, you've got multiple ways to adjust and dial in a long range shot. 2 more things I do want to mention about this optic. First of all, it comes with a cantilever mount, which is awesome because you don't have to worry about going and finding scope rings that work or finding a mount online. You can just purchase the scope and it will already come with a mount, and then you can just pop it up here on this Picatinny and you're ready to go for some long range shooting. One more thing about it is the price point. This Hyperion right now is $230 on Amazon. That is an excellent price in the market of long range scopes. It's hard to beat. That's why I wanted to pair it with this budget AR-15. And I think between the two, you've got a great setup for some long range shooting. On top of that, you could throw in maybe a bipod like this Magpul bipod I have here, up on the front to get a good stable shot. But regardless, I want to focus on the long range setup, which all you need for that is your rifle, a Triton Hyperion, and a good bipod, and you can take some good long range shots. The next setup I want to talk about is sort of a general purpose rifle, flat range, maybe a little bit of home defense. It's almost like a do-it-all type setup. In order to accomplish that, we're going to start off with a Triton Navigator 1:6 first focal plane LPVO. Again, first focal plane optic, I really like those because your holdovers are accurate at every magnification level. With this Navigator though, it's a 1:6 LPVO, so that base magnification of 1 gives you a little more versatility. It can almost operate kind of as a red dot, but you do have the ability to increase that magnification up to a level 6, so you can really sort of stretch your legs. Maybe you want to take a longer shot. You can do that with that Navigator. On top of that, it has 6 different brightness settings for your reticle, and you can make windage and elevation adjustments here on top and on the side respectively. Moving forward though, there is a couple things I do want to add to this setup beyond just the LPVO. First off is a flashlight. I think this is really good for a general purpose rifle. It gives you the ability to shoot at night or in the day. Again, not super long range, not for hunting, but you could maybe even use it as a bump in the night kind of gun when you need to clear the house. You've got a flashlight already on your rifle, ready to go. Other than that, I would definitely recommend adding some sort of foregrip. That doesn't have to be this one. There's many foregrips, vertical and angled, out on the market. I would recommend having some sort of foregrip to place your hand on the front of the rifle as you're going to be working a general purpose rifle a lot more than maybe a long range setup or a hunting setup. Something else you could consider would be iron sights. They're not electronic. A lot of people really believe in iron sights. A lot of guys don't even use optics. They just like their iron sights. I don't agree with that. I think you should have an optic. We have the technology. Use it. We all need to use it. There's nothing wrong with using electronic optics, but iron sights are a really good backup to have, and they're super lightweight. You can get plastic Magpul ones that aren't going to add a ton of weight to your rifle, and they're just a good upgrade that isn't going to weigh you down too much. The last thing I do want to add to this build would be a sling. A sling is just an essential for any rifle you're going to be running drills with, which a general purpose rifle, I would hope that we're all getting out, we're training with it, whether it's training for a bump in the night or training flat range. A sling is just a must if you're going to run drills. If you're going to have your rifle on you for more than a couple minutes, you don't want to be sitting there holding it. It's really nice to be able to stow with a sling. It adds that maneuverability. So definitely get a sling. Doesn't have to be the one on the table here, which is an HRT. Magpul makes a great sling. There's plenty of slings out there. But I will say with this setup, this general purpose setup, when I was going through the process of purchasing ARs and trying to build out and trick them out in different ways, I think I built probably 3 different AR-15s before I finally decided on this setup. And this is what I have my go-to rifle set up like. I have an LPVO, I've got a flashlight, a sling. This is how I have it set up. So I'm biased. I really like a general purpose setup. I really like LPVOs and sort of the versatility, whether it's a bump in the night or you're training flat range. I like having that 16-inch barrel so you don't have to worry about any sort of funny business with tax stamps. And overall, that would just be my favorite. I think the hunting setup we're about to talk about would be great. I think the long range setup we talked about a few minutes ago is awesome, but ultimately I landed on the general purpose setup for how I loaded out my rifle after a lot of trial and error. Now, speaking of that hunting setup, let's switch things up and talk about it now. To set up this AR-15 for hunting, I'm going to recommend using the Triton Star Strike day and night digital optic. As I said, this can be used both in daytime and nighttime. It has settings for that. My favorite feature by far is the built-in IR illuminator right here. So you don't have to worry about buying that. Yeah, I really like how it looks so sleek and slim. I don't like the idea of having a huge IR flashlight hanging off the side of my rifle. I love the sleek design with this Star Strike. So in addition to that built-in IR light, a couple other features I really like about the Star Strike is, first of all, the price point. Right now it is $270 on Amazon. In addition to that, it comes with 2 batteries. It's got recording capabilities, and it's got a 50mm objective lens. But really the point that I want to drive home is that I've tried a lot of different thermals and night vision optics, and just the other day, I was telling my buddy that he's got to try the Star Strike. I can honestly vouch for it, taking it out at night. It is, for $270, it's hard to beat. It's hard to complain about. So I do want to recommend that optic. It's got, like I said, it's got day and night modes, which is super nice because you can just keep it on there. You don't have to worry about swapping scopes and re-zeroing them. You can just hit a button on the Star Strike and flip between that day and night mode, and you'll be good to go. And best of all, you can record whatever you shoot. Now, that being said, this is an AR-15. This is a 5.56 caliber rifle. So be sure to check your local laws and regulations to see what caliber requirements and other requirements there are for whatever you are hunting. Aside from the optic, I would like to add to this rifle a bipod. If you're going to be shooting something, it is super important that you have a good steady shot. So a bipod is an essential. On top of that, you could add a suppressor because it's important that you can hear things moving through the woods, and you don't want to blow your ears out with not wearing ear protection. So a suppressor would be a good addition to this setup, but as stands with the rifle, the Star Strike, and the bipod, all in all, if I knew I was going to be hunting both during the day and also at night, the Star Strike would absolutely be the optic I would select for this setup. One more thing I do want to leave with you guys here today, and that is that choosing an optic is the second most important decision you will make when you're building out an AR-15 or any other rifle for that matter. Obviously, choosing your rifle is the most important decision, but choosing an optic is right up there. And that's because you can't shoot your rifle without an optic. We presented a whole load of different upgrades to your rifle here today for different scenarios, but I do really want to highlight these optics. Starting off here with the Navigator. Again, this is a great choice for a general purpose rifle. Right now it is $150 on Amazon, which is a great price point for a first focal plane LPVO. Here in the middle, this is the Star Strike, which is a day and night digital optic. And right now it is $270 on Amazon. Again, a really good deal in the digital night vision market. Last but not least, we have our long range setup with the Hyperion. Again, a first focal plane optic. Right now it is $230 on Amazon. All these are excellent deals and will get you hunting, they'll get you shooting, they'll get you training. And that's what's most important. And that's another thing I really want to drive home here today, is that you need to build your rifle out for whatever you are doing. Don't just buy upgrades and buy accessories and customize things out and spend all that money just for the sake of doing it. Be intentional with your purchases. If you don't need it, if you think you don't need it, you probably don't. Research things, try them out before you go and spend all the money. Absolutely, absolutely get yourself a good optic. Triton makes a ton of great ones, not even just what's here on the table. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one.